Tata Motors Jamshedpur facility was established in 1945 to manufacture steam locomotives, and in 1954 the company forayed into manufacturing a range of commercial vehicles. 60 years hence, Tata Motors is not only the most trusted commercial vehicles brand in India, but also boasts of being the undisputed market leader in the country. The plant here at Jamshedpur rolls out over 200 models of trucks, buses, tractor-trailers, tippers, mixers and special vehicles to cater to defence and civilian requirements. I decided it was time to walk through the Tata Motors Primer range of trucks assembly line, which is 700 meters in length, and chat with the Executive Director of the Commercial Vehicles segment, Ravi Pisharody. Well, Mr. Pisharody, thank you for joining us on CNBC
Welcome to
TV 18.
Jamshedpur.
Thank you so much. So today you celebrate 60 years of this Jamshedpur plant, the Tata Motors Jamshedpur plant. Tell me, how has this plant grown since inception?
Yeah, I think when you say 60 years of Jamshedpur plant, is also 60 years of Tata Motors, because this is where it all started. But obviously the factory today has emerged in a very different way. This was a traditional factory making very old-fashioned trucks. But now if you look at the trucks that we make today, technology has moved a lot. Well, we have 3 assembly lines here. This is actually what we call line number 3. It's a very sophisticated line. The line itself is about 700 kilometers long. We believe it is one of the longest straight line assembly lines in the world. It's long because it has 42 stations, so that the truck almost comes out with components only to start with and comes out as a complete truck. It's got a high degree of automation. In fact, even things which need to be carried are helped by cranes and equipment. So manual labor is minimized. The material is placed very close to the line. So I think this is the shape of a plant which is very different from what it was 60 years ago. And clearly our capacity of 100,000 per annum makes it one of the largest single truck plants in the world.
All right. And so, what different manufacturing techniques are adopted in this plant? What makes it different from other international plants and domestic ones around here?
So particularly for domestic plants, I think the sort of equipments and processes that we have here and the level of automation. So I think these are all fairly high-tech equipment. We've tried to reduce the error of human intervention. And if you look at the way things are raised and dropped and carried, it's very high safety, so that there's very less room for accidents to happen. And by doing all this, the quality is also improved a lot. So the welding and all other processes are managed very well through equipment. We have, for instance, for wheel alignment, we have laser alignment machines, which is on the axle so that the tires are fitted properly and there's less tire wear. And this whole concept of a modular way, but for these are all stations. Everywhere you see people standing, these are called stations. And I said there are 42 stations. For every station, the material is already prepared in advance. So it's not that the person on the line has to keep looking for material. Whatever is the requirement for that station, the material is ready. They just pick it up and assemble it. So I think the benefit is very less error and a very high degree of accuracy. So it obviously requires a high level of investment, which is why it's unique. To get to this level of perfection, a high level of investment, you need scale. And we have the scale, being a sort of 120,000 truck company per annum. So that's what makes it very different from other factories in India and puts it on par with one of the best factories in the world.
Right.
Yeah.
And apart from domestic competitors, you also face a lot of international competition from players, say Mercedes-Benz or Volvo, just to name a few. And these players have also been coming up with new technologies to, make their vehicles a lot more comfortable and fuel efficient. How do you adapt to such changes?
We started conceiving of competition almost 10 years ago, and we said that product is an important part of our business. So creating the right products to make sure that nobody can come and say, "Here, Mr. Indian customer, this is what you've been missing out by being with a Indian company. We are bringing you the latest and the best from the world." We anticipated that, and we started conceiving and designing of the primer. Now the primer is benchmarked to the best in the world, and it can actually operate anywhere else. And the variants we can bring out of primer are looking into account a lot of requirements in India as well as in other countries. So the features which the competitors would bring into India, we already have them. So we have the first mover advantage in many cases. And that's how I think we have to plan for competition. We can't take competition lightly, particularly some of them are the global majors, but we do believe that we have what it takes to sort of protect our enviable 60% market share in India.
Right. But your annual report suggests that there's been a 17% drop in the domestic market as of now for the want of commercial vehicles, as well as there's been a slump in the global market as well. So how are you adapting to such a crisis?
See, the truck business is very cyclical. It's not the first time. It's been seen in other parts of the world. When the truck industry slows down, they do drop by 20-25%. Having said that, I think the last 2 years have been very tough. Over 2 years, the truck industry has dropped by almost 40 or 50%. So I think at this time, there's not too much we can do. What we do not do is to slow down our product introductions. Our product introductions are extremely important, so we keep working on them. But we do look at a loss on cost and flexibility. For instance, this line was initially created as the primer line.
Right.
But today the line is very flexible. It can take a lot of other products. So there are about at least 10 to 15 different types which can be made on this line.
Right.
So I think flexibility is the hour of the day. So we've made our line flexible. There's a lot of focus on cost reduction. We've done that. And I think we've now seen the worst.
Your biggest strength has always been your service and dealership network. So how do you plan on building on that?
Yeah, so that's really an entry barrier for us. When we introduced our ACE products, say about 7 years ago, most of our dealership expansion was in the smaller towns, saying that ACE is a rural product, so that's where we need expansion. But looking to the global competition and the fact that most of them are coming with latest international products, we've given a lot of emphasis on the outlets for technology. So today, even our big truck dealers have been pushed, and they've accepted, because they're very progressive people. They've accepted that they need to modernize their workshops, put state-of-the-art equipment, and actually today, in the last 1 year, I personally have inaugurated at least 5 or 6 showrooms. There's one in Karnataka which has 60 bays for workshops. There's one in Vasai near Bombay, 50 bays for. So I think we have been modernizing our workshops, increasing the service facility so that there's no waiting time. We have a service workshop every 30-40 kilometers, which means that if there's a breakdown en route, the closest workshop is a Tata workshop. This is a huge advantage for somebody who's setting up shop today.
Some new philosophies that have come up in the Tata Motors, one is the design next philosophy.
Yeah.
What can you tell me more about that? Are you adopting that? Are you using that guideline to, design new, innovative-looking trucks and buses?
Yeah, as part of performance, Horizon Next, which for cars means something different, and for trucks means something different. So for trucks, we are saying is fuel efficiency next, performance next. Performance is about robustness, reliability, and the third is design. This is the latest edition. In the past, we have said often enough that vehicles, in commercial vehicles, don't need to be very attractive. They need to be functional. But I think that's changing. Today, we have a cabin like this. If you look at the inside of the cabin, there's a lot of work which has happened. So the inside is very comfortable. For instance, the Prima trucks there, these are taking into account the latest styling in the world.
Right.
So I think the fact that commercial vehicle is also paying a lot of attention to design.
So now comfort is also given a very important.
Yes. Comfort is also very important now.
So it's also interesting to note that you have a lot of lady workers working over here in the cabin area. So.
Yeah, in fact, you were asking me what's unique about this factory. One of the things we are trying to do, of course, it's a group-wide movement, but also in Tata Motors is to increase women staffing inside the companies. And given that we are an engineering company, if you take the view that some of these jobs cannot be done by women, that would be a wrong starting point. So we've laid out this line, which is a line completely manned by women. Of course, we've identified the activities. So this is a trim line. The trim line are activities where we believe the women are more than capable to handle. And I must say we are very happy. There are some jobs, I must say, women do a much better job in terms of degree of thoroughness and precision. So this entire line, which is it is a primer trim line, you'll see that all the stations are manned by women employees.
So Tata Motors has also recently introduced the fleet telematics.
Yes.
How does that work and what kind of response have you got to this?
Yeah, so when we introduced Prima for the first time, right from then we had an inbuilt GPS device. And a GPS really is a position sensor where the transporter can know where their driver is and have a communication. But that was not enough, because today, because of mobile phones and all that, just identifying where the trucker is or where the driver is not enough. Telematics technology has moved on a lot, and in commercial vehicles in particular, the telematics technology can also do optimum fuel economy. So in a particular segment, what is the fuel economy you're getting, and even diagnostics, like if a particular component is expected to fail over a certain period of time, it starts detecting that a particular component is approaching wear and tear and gives an early warning. And we have recently tied up with a company called Microlize from the UK. The only reason we tied up with them is they are experts in truck telematics. So this whole field is still evolving. Today we are providing a few solutions in our telematics. We are calling it the Tata Fleetman. And it is the way it is working is, if a customer is interested in the Fleetman, he's buying a few trucks with the Fleetman, but he's saying, look, I have another 50 trucks where I want those vehicles also to have Fleetman. So we have made available the telematics package also as an aftermarket solution. So our dealers have been told to offer that as separately. So I think the main push in trying to make sure that this is more and more useful and not just about where the driver is and etc. So a lot of the vehicle performance can also be influenced by telematics online.
And you received a good response?
Very good response. I must say that this is a segment where customers themselves are not very educated. We are having to educate them, because they are not demanding so much saying that we want telematics, because they don't know what to do with it. But we are training them. In some cases, the client customer, like say if Tata Steel is transporting steel or a cement company is transporting cement, they are saying that they want some telematics so that they can track their inventory all along the way. So together with them and together with some service providers, we are trying to bring the industry up to speed. Again, we believe we have a starting advantage. We will want to continue to pioneer this development in India.
Any new such technologies in the pipeline?
A lot of things, like I think we are looking at automatic AMT, automated manual transmission, as well as automatic transmission. Automatic transmission may not be so relevant for long distance, because when you're driving at top speed on an expressway, that's not, you don't change the gears very often. But for inner city use, which is the 9 to 16 ton segment, we are looking at fitting automatic manual transmission over the next 1 to 2 years. Hybrid technology, I think increasingly the government is looking at making electric and hybrid solutions available. We already have a hybrid solution in our buses, which we are going to position as an option. Alternative fuel, we have CNG trucks, but we are also looking at LNG. In fact, in the last Auto Expo, we had positioned an LNG truck, and we are looking at, as and when I talked about Horizon 3 levels of research and development. So there are many things we are working on. As and when they are profitable and commercially viable, we are going to introduce these things into the market.
So sir, at the Auto Expo earlier this year, we saw the electric Magic Iris. For the heavy trucks, is there any such technology which we can expect?
Yes, of course. In fact, the city applications like the Magic Iris or a bus has a different requirement altogether. That is much more about pollution and emission. In the medium and heavy, we are looking at two technologies. One is the hybrid. So right now it is more relevant for buses. So we already have hybrid buses which we are working on. And the other is alternative fuels. So we have CNG truck applications starting from the Ace going up to all the big trucks. And now we are looking at LNG also. there is a plan with the government and the oil industry that LNG will also be fuel they want to promote. So in fact, at the same Auto Expo you referred to, we had displayed a 49-ton tractor trailer on LNG. It's still early days, but we do believe that at least along the western coastline, there could be a possibility of a lot of LNG vehicles being incorporated. So, and I think we will keep looking at more and more options. Fuel cells is another alternate fuel we could be looking at, particularly for buses. So, basically in big trucks it is about fuel economy.
Yeah.
Because the less fuel you consume, the more green it is alternative fuels, and many more ideas which will come to us.
Right.
You can see we are sort of coming to the end of the production line. The vehicle is now taking full shape. The cabin is also sitting completely on the vehicle. Over there, the seats are sort of assembled onto the truck, and a few stations down the line, the vehicle is ready to roll out. Then, of course, it will go on to the test track, where hopefully you and me will drive a truck each and test the truck in the test track.
That would be fun. Sir, tell me something, right from the start of the assembly line to the end, how long does it take for one truck to get done completely?
Very interesting question. Again, we think it is best in class. We call it cycle time. 5 minutes. Every 5 minutes, a truck rolls out completely, starting with bare components, and it rolls out as a complete truck, which is a fairly good number, given that the truck numbers are not very voluminous worldwide. In India is actually number-wise one of the largest countries in the world for trucks. So I think this would make it one of the fastest and most efficient truck assembly lines.
Thank you so much, sir. And I think we should just proceed to the test track.
Sure.
To get our hands on the trucks.
Thank you for being here, and I hope you had an interesting exposure to truck assembly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, that was a really interesting on-the-line session at the Tata Motors plant here at Jamshedpur, but our on-the-line segment is never complete without the boss driving one of the vehicles, and I'm lucky this time because I get to drive the Tata Primer truck as well. So, Mr. Pisharody, would we just take one lap?
Welcome. Try one yourself.
Thank you.
We've road tested a lot of interesting cars and motorcycles on test tracks over the years, but driving a medium-weight Primer truck at the test track of Tata Motors Jamshedpur plant was a completely different and exhilarating experience altogether.